The Yakuza are Japan's famous organized crime groups. They have fascinated people for a very long time. This fascination is not just in Japan, but all around the world. Movies, video games, and comic books often feature Yakuza characters. These stories show them as complex figures. Sometimes they are noble heroes who follow a strict code of honor. Other times, they are ruthless villains who bring violence and fear to the streets. This mix of good and bad makes them very interesting for storytellers. People are drawn to their world of rituals, loyalty, and danger. It is a world that feels both ancient and modern at the same time. Why do we find these gangsters so compelling? Part of the reason is the strong visual style associated with them. Elaborate full-body tattoos, sharp suits, and missing fingers are powerful symbols. They immediately tell an audience that they are looking at someone outside of normal society. These symbols suggest a life of commitment and sacrifice. The stories often focus on themes that everyone can understand, like family, betrayal, and redemption. We watch these characters navigate a dangerous underworld. They must make difficult choices that test their loyalty. This creates exciting drama that keeps audiences engaged and wanting to see what happens next. These gangster tales also offer a window into a hidden part of Japanese culture. For many people outside of Japan, their only knowledge of the Yakuza comes from these fictional portrayals. The films and games act as a kind of cultural introduction. They show us Japanese cityscapes, social customs, and a certain way of thinking. Of course, this introduction is highly stylized and often not very accurate. It romanticizes a life of crime, making it seem more glamorous and honorable than it really is. The line between the myth created by media and the reality of organized crime becomes very blurry for the average viewer. This essay will explore the gap between the myth and the reality. We will look at how Yakuza have been shown in different types of media. We will examine the history of Japanese Yakuza films, from the classic chivalrous gangster movies to the more gritty and realistic modern ones. We will also see how Western movies have treated the Yakuza, often as exotic and mysterious figures. Finally, we will discuss how video games like the popular Yakuza series blend fact and fiction to create their own unique version of this criminal underworld. Understanding these portrayals helps us see how stories shape our view of the world. To understand the Yakuza myth, we must first look at the real history. The origins of the Yakuza are debated. Some say they descended from wandering samurai or ronin, who became mercenaries and bodyguards hundreds of years ago. A more accepted theory traces them to two groups from the Edo period, which lasted from 1603 to 1868, the Takiya, who were peddlers of illegal goods, and the Bakuto, who were illegal gamblers. These groups formed their own organizations to protect their interests. They developed rituals and a hierarchical structure that became the foundation for the modern Yakuza. The name Yakuza itself comes from a losing hand in a card game, meaning good for nothing, which reflects their status as outsiders. The structure of a Yakuza family is very rigid and hierarchical. It is modeled after a traditional Japanese family system. The boss is called the Oyabun, which means father figure. His followers are called Kabun, or child figures. They swear absolute loyalty to him. This relationship is cemented in a special ceremony involving the sharing of sake. This ritual binds the members together in a powerful way. The organization is a pyramid. The Oyabun is at the top, with various lieutenants and underbosses below him, each managing their own soldiers and territories. This strict chain of command ensures that orders are followed without question, maintaining discipline within the group. The symbols associated with the Yakuza are very famous. The most well-known is the full-body tattoo called irizumi. These tattoos are traditionally done by hand using a needle and ink, a painful and lengthy process. They are not just for decoration. They are a mark of commitment, showing a person's willingness to endure pain and permanently mark themselves as part of the underworld. Common designs include dragons, tigers, and koi fish, each with its own meaning. Another famous symbol is yubitsumi, the ritual of cutting off a finger joint. This is done as a form of apology for a mistake. The severed finger is presented to the boss to show remorse and ask for forgiveness. In reality, the Yakuza are involved in many criminal activities. These include extortion, blackmail, drug trafficking, and prostitution. They also have a presence in legitimate businesses, like construction and real estate, which they use for money laundering. For many years, They had a complicated relationship with Japanese society and the police. Sometimes they were seen as a necessary evil that kept street crime in check. However, in recent decades, the Japanese government has passed strict anti-Yakuza laws. These laws have made it much harder for them to operate. Their numbers have been decreasing, and their influence is not as strong as it once was. The golden age of the Yakuza is largely over. When the Yakuza appear in Western movies, they are often treated very differently than in Japanese films. Western filmmakers tend to emphasize their otherness. The Yakuza are presented as exotic and mysterious villains. They are defined by their strange rituals and their unwavering, almost inhuman, code of honor. This approach turns them into a cultural spectacle. The focus is less on their individual humanity, and more on the things that make them seem foreign and dangerous to a Western audience. Tattoos, missing fingers, and formal bowing are all used as visual shorthand to establish their identity as the ultimate Japanese criminals. A good example of this is the 1989 film Black Rain, directed by Ridley Scott. In this movie, American cops travel to Osaka and get caught up in a Yakuza war. The film spends a lot of time highlighting the cultural differences between the American and Japanese characters. The Yakuza are portrayed as stoic, inscrutable, and deeply tied to tradition. Their world is shown as a dark and alien landscape, full of neon lights and hidden rules that the Western hero cannot understand. They are not just criminals, they are symbols of a completely different way of life. This makes them intimidating villains, but it also reduces them to a collection of stereotypes. This portrayal can be problematic because it reinforces cliches about Japan and its people. The Yakuza become representative of Japanese culture as a whole, secretive, rigid, and inscrutable. This is a common trope in Western media, where foreign cultures are often simplified for the sake of the story. The Yakuza in these films rarely have complex motivations beyond a vague sense of honor or a desire for power. They function as an obstacle for the Western protagonist to overcome. Their rituals and traditions are presented as bizarre, rather than as part of a complex social system, even a criminal one. This exoticism makes for an exciting movie, but it does not offer much real insight. In more recent years, there have been some attempts to create more nuanced portrayals. Films and TV shows have started to include Japanese or Japanese-American actors and writers who bring a more authentic perspective. For example, the TV series Tokyo Vice tries to show the Yakuza with more realism, exploring the complex relationships between the criminals, the police, and the press. However, the temptation to rely on the old exotic stereotypes is still strong. For many Western audiences, the image of the Yakuza remains that of a silent, tattoo-covered killer with a sword, a powerful but one-dimensional figure from a faraway land. Anime and manga have explored the Yakuza in a wide variety of ways. While some stories follow the serious and violent path of gangster films, many others take a completely different approach. It's actually very common to find Yakuza characters in comedies and slice-of-life stories. In these narratives, the scary image of the gangster is often turned on its head for humorous effect. For example, we might see a terrifying Yakuza boss who has a secret passion for cute things, or a feared enforcer who is actually a kind and gentle person at heart. This contrast between their dangerous job and their mundane or sweet personality is honestly a great source of comedy. A perfect example of this is the popular manga and anime series. The story is about a legendary Yakuza boss known as the Immortal Dragon who retires from a life of crime to become a dedicated house husband. He brings the same intensity and seriousness to cooking, cleaning, and shopping that he once brought to gang warfare. The humor comes from seeing him apply Yakuza-style language and attitudes to everyday domestic tasks. For instance, he might describe a good bargain at the supermarket as a successful turf war. This kind of story demystifies the Yakuza, making them seem less like monsters and more like quirky human beings. These gentler portrayals allow creators to explore the themes of family and community in a different light on top. In many of these stories, the Yakuza family acts like a real, supportive family. The tough-looking gangsters might be shown taking care of each other, offering advice, and showing deep loyalty. A series called features a ruthless Yakuza lieutenant who is suddenly tasked with looking after his boss's young daughter. The story follows his journey as he learns to be a caring guardian. showing a softer, more paternal side that he had to hide in his criminal life. These narratives suggest that even people in the underworld have the capacity for kindness and love. Now, this softer take on the Yakuza does not mean that anime and manga ignore the darker side completely. Even in comedies, the characters' violent pasts are often part of their identity. The threat of danger is always there in the background, which adds a layer of tension to the story. However, by focusing on humor and humanity, these stories provide a counterbalance to the purely violent or purely romantic portrayals found elsewhere. They show that the Yakuza figure can be used to tell many different kinds of stories, from thrilling crime sagas to heartwarming comedies about finding your place in the world, even if that place is a little bit outside the law. The video game medium has provided one of the most detailed and immersive explorations of the Yakuza world. The most famous example by far is Sega's Yakuza series, which is known as Like a Dragon in the West. These games are action-adventure stories that put the player in the shoes of a Yakuza member navigating the criminal underworld. The series is celebrated for its incredible blend of realism and fiction. The games are set in meticulously recreated versions of real Japanese districts like Tokyo's Kabukicho, which is called Kamurocho in the game. Players can walk the streets, enter shops, and really feel like they are there, which honestly adds a strong sense of authenticity. The main storylines of the Yakuza games are epic crime dramas. They are filled with betrayal, conspiracy, and dramatic confrontations, much like the best Yakuza films. The central protagonist for most of the series, Kazuma Kiryu, is a perfect example of the classic Ninkyo hero. He is a man with a strong moral code, driven by honor and a desire to protect the innocent. He is constantly trying to leave the Yakuza life behind but is always pulled back in to solve problems and fight for his loved ones. His story allows players to experience the fantasy of being an honorable gangster, fighting for what is right in a corrupt world. However, what makes the Yakuza series truly special is its mix of serious drama with completely absurd side activities. While the main plot is dark and violent, the player can take a break to engage in dozens of mini-games. You can manage a cabaret club, race toy cars, sing karaoke, or help ordinary citizens with their bizarre problems. One moment, Kiryu might be fighting off 100 thugs in a dramatic battle. The next, he might be helping a man find his stolen wig. This combination of the serious and the silly creates a unique tone. It makes the characters feel more human and relatable, showing that even legendary gangsters have a life outside of fighting. The games do not shy away from the details of Yakuza culture. They include representations of the hierarchical family structure, the sake-sharing rituals, and the importance of tattoos. While the games certainly romanticize the life, they also touch upon the downsides. Characters deal with betrayal, imprisonment, and the difficulty of ever truly leaving the organization. The series acts as a kind of interactive encyclopedia of the Yakuza myth. It takes elements from classic films, real history, and modern life, and blends them all together into a compelling and entertaining package that has introduced a whole new generation to the world of the Japanese underworld. Across all forms of media, stories about the Yakuza tend to revolve around a set of powerful recurring themes. The most important of these is the concept of honor and loyalty. In many Yakuza stories, a character's honor is their most valuable possession. They follow a strict code of conduct, and breaking that code brings great shame. Loyalty to the Oyabun and the Yakuza family is paramount. This theme creates a lot of drama, as characters are often forced to choose between their loyalty to the group and their own personal feelings or moral beliefs. This internal conflict is the heart of many great Yakuza tales, from classic films to modern video games. Another central theme is violence and its consequences. The Yakuza world is a violent one, and this is almost always a key part of the narrative. However, the way violence is shown can vary greatly. In romantic Ninkyo films, violence might be clean and stylized, a final honorable duel between two warriors. In more realistic Jitsuroku films, it is brutal, messy, and ugly, showing the true cost of a life of crime. In video games, violence is often a core gameplay mechanic, but the story might still explore its emotional and physical toll on the characters. These stories force us to consider whether violence can ever be justified, even when used for a supposedly honorable cause. The idea of family is also incredibly important. The Yakuza organization itself is structured as a pseudo-family, with the boss as the father and the members as his children. This creates a powerful sense of belonging for people who are often outsiders from mainstream society. Many stories explore the tension between this chosen criminal family and a character's actual biological family. A hero might have to protect his wife and children from the dangers of his Yakuza life, or he might have to betray his sworn brother. This theme adds a deep emotional layer to the stories, making the stakes feel personal and high. Finally, many Yakuza narratives explore the theme of being an outsider. Yakuza are, by definition, outside the law and normal society. Their tattoos must be hidden, and their way of life separates them from ordinary people. This can lead to stories about loneliness and the search for acceptance. The Yakuza hero is often a tragic figure, unable to fit into the normal world and also disillusioned with the criminal one. This outsider status is part of their appeal. They represent a kind of freedom from the strict rules of Japanese society, but it's a freedom that comes at a very high price. These themes give Yakuza stories their enduring power and emotional weight. The countless movies, games, and comics about the Yakuza have had a huge impact on how people see them. These stories have created a powerful and lasting image in the public consciousness, both in Japan and around the world. For many, the fictional Yakuza, the honorable tattooed warrior, is more real than the actual criminal organization. This media-created image is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it has generated a great deal of interest in Japanese culture. On the other hand, it has spread a lot of misinformation and romanticized a dangerous reality. This has significantly shaped public perception in complex ways. In Japan, the relationship with Yakuza stories is complicated. During the golden age of Yakuza films in the 1960s, these movies were incredibly popular. They offered a fantasy of masculine honor and rebellion that resonated with a large part of the population. However, as the real Yakuza became associated with more ruthless crimes and the government cracked down on them, public opinion shifted. Today, most people in Japan view the Yakuza negatively. The romantic image from the old films is now seen mostly as nostalgia. Modern stories often reflect this, showing the Yakuza as a declining and pathetic force rather than a powerful one. For international audiences, the impact is different. Since most people outside of Japan have no direct experience with the Yakuza, their entire understanding is shaped by media. Films like Black Rain or games like Yakuza become their primary source of information. This often leads to a romanticized or exoticized view. People might believe that all Yakuza strictly follow a code of honor, or that they are all masters of martial arts. This image can be very appealing, but it obscures the reality of organized crime, which is mainly about making money through illegal and often harmful means. The cool, stylish gangster on screen hides the ugly truth of extortion and violence. This media influence can even affect the Yakuza themselves. Some sociologists have suggested that the Yakuza have, at times, adopted a persona that imitates the movies. The films help to build the Yakuza myth, and some members may have tried to live up to that myth. They might adopt the stoic demeanor or the honorable language seen on screen to enhance their own image and reputation. In this way, fiction and reality can enter a strange feedback loop, with each one influencing the other. The stories are not just reflecting the world, they are actively helping to shape it, creating a legend that is hard to separate from the facts. As we have seen, the Yakuza of the screen and the Yakuza of the streets are two very different things. The world of movies and video games gives us compelling characters, dramatic stories, and a powerful sense of style. We are drawn to the tales of honor, loyalty, and sacrifice. We enjoy the fantasy of the noble outlaw who protects the weak or the tragic anti-hero who is trapped in a violent world. These stories are excellent entertainment, and they have become a significant part of global pop culture. They offer a window into a hidden corner of Japan, even if that window shows a heavily distorted view. It is crucial to remember that this view is a simplification. The reality of organized crime is far more complex and much less glamorous. The real Yakuza are not stoic heroes from a samurai film. They are involved in criminal activities that cause real harm to individuals and communities. The strict anti-Yakuza laws in Japan were created for a reason. These laws have severely weakened the organizations, and their numbers and influence have been in steady decline for years. The Yakuza are becoming a relic of a bygone era, and their future is uncertain. The romantic myth is proving to be much more resilient than the organization itself. The stories we consume are powerful. They shape our understanding and can make us sympathize with characters we would never support in real life. The appeal of the Yakuza narrative lies in its universal themes: the struggle for belonging, the desire for justice in an unjust world, and the bonds of a chosen family. These are ideas that resonate with everyone, regardless of their cultural background. Storytellers use the Yakuza framework to explore these deep human questions, and that is why the genre remains so popular. It allows us to explore the dark side of human nature from a safe distance. Ultimately, the Yakuza story is a fascinating case study in how myth and reality can intertwine. The fiction created in films and games has become a part of the Yakuza's identity, creating a legend that is bigger than the truth. As we continue to enjoy these thrilling tales, it is important to keep a critical eye. We should appreciate them as great works of drama and entertainment, but we must not mistake them for a documentary. The real story of the Yakuza is not just one of honor and tattoos. It is a complicated history of crime, society, and the enduring power of a good story.